Today I'm joined with Oliver Hampson. Sort of known each other for a little bit, but this is the first time we're on an interview, I guess, together. I just want to ask, how have you been recently?
Yeah, I've been doing quite well. As like you said, it's the first time we've really sat down and had an interview together. We know each other a little bit, so it's nice to catch up, see how you're doing. But yeah, I'm doing all good.
So that's really good. And today I'm talking more about like fan engagement in sport. So you've been working in sports with the ice hockey before COVID hit, and then since then you've gone on to the 100, which is sort of after COVID. So you've basically worked through it, which is perfect. I wanted to start with the ice hockey. And what was it like before the COVID, sort of building up to the Challenge Cup? Obviously, there was a little bit of concern, but the event still went on. How did you find the fan engagement? How did you find like managing up to that point?
So I think up to the Challenge Cup final, like the last game in the Elite League, I think that was at a point where COVID was sort of starting to get a bit more on everyone's radar. Everyone knew about it, obviously, but I don't think anyone really expected what happened to happen. So I don't think there was much different in it. I think that was very much a business as usual day. Obviously, it's a Challenge Cup final, so it's a much bigger event.
Yeah.
But I think it was a lot of just, okay, well, we'll probably be playing again. We might have a little bit of interruption before the end of the season, but it won't be too big. So I think in terms of pre-COVID, everything was just normal. But then as COVID started happening, you could see there was sort of contingency plans sort of falling into place, but not really. Because I just think that no one really expected what's happened over the last 17, 18 months to actually happen. We're in August now. We're only just about to see elite ice hockey return in the next month or so. So it's been a bit weird.
Yeah, exactly. And sort of we had that Challenge Cup, and it was the next game then, wasn't it, after? And it was sort of thinking we might win the league if we keep going the way we are. And for it just to cut off so soon, how did you find? Obviously, we were both quite active on Twitter then. How did you find trying to keep fans engaged with what you're providing, despite there being a lack of the hockey straight after?
So once the season got cancelled, one thing I started doing was basically looking through archive stuff. So trying to find anything in terms of, like on this day content, so it'd be, as we got into the summer, it'd be like on this day, the Devils signed Joey Martin in 2014. And then like a clip of him playing. There'd just be other things as well I'd be looking at. So as the season started getting on across Europe and not in the UK, I was trying to keep tabs on how Devils players in particular were doing in Sweden, in France, for example, and just seeing if I could update fans in that way. For me personally, I did sort of take the COVID break, I guess, as a bit of a break for myself as well. Just recharge, reset my batteries a little bit, and because I was planning on, I ended up going to do a master's degree anyway. So it was a lot of just trying to make sure I went into that in the right headspace. So for me, I sort of updated fans on things as and when I could, but not as often as I probably could have, just because I didn't particularly feel like, burning out when there was nothing on.
Yeah, obviously it was kind of hard, challenging, making sure you're still keeping stuff flowing, but you didn't want to burn yourself out. We didn't know exactly when ice hockey was coming back. And as you say, it's been 17, 18 months now. So if you did end up just checking everything you had in those first couple of weeks or months even, you'd be sort of left with nothing now. It's picking up again. Obviously, the interest picked up when we made the first couple signings, new manager. There was always stuff happening, which did help. And I was just wondering, in that time off, obviously there wasn't any ice hockey, but did you like move to other sports in terms of like, did you focus on a bit of like football as well? Obviously, you're going into the Masters knowing that there was going to be different sports there. So did you?
Yeah, so for me, I sort of landed on my feet perfectly with this Masters because whilst ice hockey was cancelled, I had to cover other sports just through the very nature of the Masters degree being very practical sports broadcasting. So I did a lot in terms of basketball content with the Cardiff Met Archers in the Women's Basketball League in the UK. A little bit around the Cardiff Met football and the women's football teams as well. There's just a little bit of everything really thrown at me through the Masters. I think for me as well, I was eager to branch out anyway. That was one reason why I even went for the Masters, because I thought I'd sort of pigeonholed myself a little bit in ice hockey and just wanted to see what I could do with other things. So yeah, I ended up doing mostly basketball and football, and now I've somehow managed to end up working on cricket as well. So I think that a lot of people who sort of covered the lower end sports and may have been impacted by COVID, this was the time where they would sort of were thinking, okay, I need to look elsewhere. Because I know Gareth Hewish, who's my co-commentator, he's now commentating on football as well. So he was commentating on a FA Cup first round match the other week. So I think a lot of ice hockey media guys probably diversifying their portfolio a bit.
Yeah, so talking of like the fan engagement, when you did do your masters, was a lot of the learning there trying to better you with trying to get your fan engagement across the broader? Did they teach you that, or was that something you decided to do yourself mainly?
Mostly I did that myself. So the masters was more the practical skills in terms of camera work, commentary, broadcasting, and sense like that. A little bit of social media work. So the fan engagement is something I sort of did myself because I wanted to sort of use my own Twitter account to show any prospective employer that I can engage with social media, and that's basically what I'm doing with the cricket now. I just wanted to sort of have that in the back of my mind, where I was thinking, well, after this masters, I'm going to need a job. There's not going to be that much social media work, so if I can use my own platform as, hey, look, I've done this personally, this is what I can do for your brand. That's sort of why at times I would use my social media in that way.
That's really good. And then finally, we're sort of going on to a bit more recently. You've been working on the cricket, you said. What is the change like going from sort of a packed arena, there's the last game that you would have gone to then go into the 100, which is now, I'm not too familiar with how the fans are working around that. Is it how is the fans getting in? Is it still creating a big atmosphere? Because it's obviously very new.
So with the 100, it's weird because I've never really been into cricket. So I was quite surprised when they offered me the job. But in terms of the fans, so I'm covering the Welsh Fire. So when we're playing in Cardiff, we have limited capacity. So I think we've got our last home game coming up, and I think it's about 8,000, which is probably about 50% capacity of Sapphire Gardens, I think. But when we've played away, we played in Headingley, we played yesterday, we played in Southampton, and that was sold out. That's about 18,000 people. So I think that fans in particular at the moment are just loving being back in sports grounds. You see that with football returning as well. So for the fan engagement side of it, the 100 is really trying to nail, a younger audience and really trying to make cricket more accessible to families, as well as, there's always going to be the lads who go and use it for like a boozy day out, but they want to hit the families. So in terms of the social content, they've really done a good job of directing their content for them and showcasing why it's good for families. And then also when you see it on BBC, Sky Sports, even on YouTube as well, and you see packed stadiums, everyone's having fun, sun shining, it just makes it even better. And to be honest, the atmosphere in all the grounds has been phenomenal.
Oh, that's really good. I say you've been working on social media with the Welsh Fire, haven't you? And
yeah, so with that, I've just been capturing sort of behind the scenes content for Instagram mostly.
Yeah, I say I've been watching a few of those, trying to keep up with how you've been doing. How have you been aiming it more, like you said, family friendly? Because a lot of the things I found was it's sort of like they do in the football. It's like a little challenge. It's almost like family friendly orientated. The challenges that you've been, or just the behind the scenes in general, have been very. I don't know how to word it. Family friendly, I guess. It's nothing too serious at the minute. It's all just showing the sort of the better side of hockey. It's just stuck on my mind at this point of cricket.
Yeah, so with this, it's a lot of just trying to showcase that, this is a fun and exciting tournament. It's, if it's going on social media, they want it to go viral. They want people to look at that and go, oh, that's really cool. Let's watch the next game on TV. And then they watch a game on TV and go, oh, that looks really good. Let's go to the stadium. So whenever I'm capturing content behind the scenes, I'm always mindful of, how will this land with the target audience, not just with an audience. So you're trying to get something for the cricket purists to like, but also the newbies to like as well. So, for example, we did a challenge video with one of the Australian girls, Georgia Redmayne, where I got her to try and pronounce Welsh town names. So that's just not cricket related. It's fun. It's something that people in Wales would appreciate as well, because I feel as though there might be a slight disconnect between the Welsh Fire and Wales, because we've only got one Welsh girl in the team and one Welsh man in the team. And with limited capacity as well, you can't really get behind the team that much, because we're not selling out the stadium. The team can't really go out and interact with people as well. So for the Welsh Fire aspect of it, we're trying to land it so it's building something for the next edition of the 100, so that Welsh fans really resonate with the team and go, no, that is our team. But also trying to make sure that when we, hopefully if COVID's not around next year, we can actually pack out Sapphire Gardens and have it, full of kids who not only enjoy watching it, but then take up the sport as well.
Yeah, so I've been to Sapphire Gardens a couple of times to watch cricket. I've never been a massive fan, but sometimes you get involved with things to do with it. And the atmosphere is amazing when it's packed. But I've noticed when there is a limited capacity, for if it was like a smaller cricket team, and obviously they're not going to sell out the whole Sapphire Gardens, it sort of squishes the atmosphere into part of Sapphire Gardens. But how has the seating been? Has it been spread out, or have they just focused it all into one area?
So in Sapphire Gardens, it's been sort of spread out. So you have like clusters, which are more or less based on ticket things. So any like family and friends tend to be in the same area. They're the ones who are basically there to watch, their family actually play. So they're not really going to get too, rowdy or anything like that. But one thing I have noticed is even though it is sort of spaced out around the ground, you'll hear pockets of atmosphere building in certain parts, and it will carry out throughout the rest of the ground. So I think in terms of the fans that we've had in Sapphire Gardens, we haven't had many, but it has been a good atmosphere, and one that you're thinking, if this was sold out, this place would be just rocking right now.
That's really cool. I mean, thanks for your time on the interviews. They've been a real big help to me. And
That's right.
I just want to say, like best of luck, I guess. You did say it was your final game next.
Yeah, so we played our penultimate game yesterday in Southampton. Wednesday is the final game of the group stage, and then the finals. But I need to double check the table. I don't think we're in it.
Okay. Well, best of luck to end the season anyway, and best of luck with you pushing on with your journalism as well. I say I'm just sort of started in year 2. You've done your masters now, and best of luck, I guess.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
No worries.